crazy, but I didn't know he would.
How did it run after that, Cat?
It helped it. It didn't spin as much coming off the turn.
Welcome to another high-octane episode of Southern Dirt Motorsports.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Southern Dirt Motorsports. I'm Steve Winstead, the host, and glad to be back at Northfield Vineyards for another recording session. Northfield Vineyards is located 515 Race Cemetery Road, Sparta, Tennessee, just 3 miles south of Cookeville, Tennessee. They offer tasting of their wines, hard ciders, and locally crafted beer 7 days a week. Today I've got some special guests here today. I'm really excited that they were able to make the drive up. It's the cast from Bubba, Bout podcast. Welcome, Jim. Pretty good.
Thanks for having us.
Awesome.
Alrighty, so I just want to say that I'm flattered that, our Buffalo Valley Facebook page inspired your podcast. Tell the audience something about your podcast.
Well, I'm Melvin McLerran, and this is Jackson, and this is Ariela Aspen.
Hello.
We started the podcast up about 7 or 8 weeks ago, actually, and we had been following this their podcast for about a year.
Yeah, since we discovered the Buffalo Valley page.
Yeah, and we were down in Talladega at the races, and Jackson and I and Caleb Stratton, who's the other co-host on Bubba's Bout Broke, he couldn't be here today, dadgummit, but that's part of it.
Hard to get good help, ain't
It is. Hey, but he does show up when it counts, so.
Yeah.
That's all
And
matters.
he's our tech guy, too, so that's huge for us. So we were down there sitting in infield at Talladega talking about, man, there is nobody that we know of other than what y'all are doing that is doing any type podcast for local drivers and local racers and local tracks. Everything's NASCAR. So we was thinking, man, there's such a market out there for that and a need for that. So we got together there and talked about it. And of course, I'm like I was talking to you, Steve. I'm kind of computer illiterate, so I'm thinking
Same here.
Podcast. I don't know about a podcast machine. I don't know how to do this.
You can look at our first 2 or 3 episodes and see how computer literate I am.
Well, exactly. So we put it together. I started Googling podcast equipment, what was the best, what was not the best, kind of what we were looking for. We had seen that y'all's podcast was, talking about Buffalo Valley, Hillham, and all these old places, which, by the way, my Uncle Jerry McLerran used to drive all them tracks, so it was kind of cool to see y'all talking about him on that podcast or on this podcast. Mm-hmm. So that inspired us to try to do this. So Bubba's Bout Broke was born. Bubba's Bout Broke, the name comes from a little doodle. Bubba is a little picture that I had drawn since I was in like 5th or 6th grade. Never knew why I drew it, but now I know why. He is a metaphor for all of us out there that keep going to the track week to week, keeps getting beat up. We keep spending our money. Some people, like the song that Ariela wrote, says, I don't have the money to pay my bills, but I go to the track because I love the thrills, because you're going to keep going no matter what. And we wanted to know why these people keep doing that. So here we are today, Bubba's Bout Broke podcast.
Well, I listen to y'all's podcast quite regularly, and I have to say she's a good songwriter.
Oh, man.
She's amazing.
Next time we might see her, we may be in a big stadium somewhere. We'll have to pay to see her. Wouldn't that be crazy?
Watch out, Garth Brooks.
Yeah.
That's right. Jackson, you drive. How long you been driving?
I've been driving since I was 8 years old.
Wow.
I started in mini cups.
Mini cup.
They're like miniature, I guess like souped up go-karts, I guess is what they are. And then we took a break for a while. The division kind of fell away. It was about 2008 or 9. And then we got back into racing in 2019 in pure stocks over at Highland Rim Speedway.
Mm-hmm.
And then we progressively moved up. Now I'm running pro late models.
Oh. What tracks do you run at?
I run at Highland Rim Speedway, and then we run at Nashville Fairgrounds on the 5/8 mile.
Yeah, my nerves are shot.
Yeah, it's intense.
I can imagine. When Jackson's racing, do you serve kind of as a pit crew chief, or what's your role?
It depends. If he's driving at Nashville, he drives for Wayne Day, who owns Wayne Day Enterprises. He's used to own a nationwide team. David Green, who else? Billy Allen, David Reagan. They've all drove for him, and Jackson has drove for him last year in about 5 races, along with Hunter Wright, who's a very successful pro late model driver at Nashville and, well, all around, really. Jackson was fielding the second pro late model car for them, the number 7 Mid-South Electric Chevrolet, 31W insulation. And but when I go with them, I'm kind of just standing there sucking my thumb, to be honest with you, because they got their own crew, their own people. I'm like, just finally one of them come up and says, well, you can help get him in and out of the car. I was like, all right, man, got me a job.
I've got a job now.
Yeah, but when we run at Highland Rim, yes, I'm the crew chief. There's 3 or 4 of us that go. We all just kind of, the family jumps in. My wife, my daughter, Jackson's sister, Lori. We all jump in, change tires, put fuel in the car, and we hammer it out, do the best we can, you know. So it's a family deal for sure. And then, of course, my dad, Reed McLerran, when we go back to the shop, he's the shop boss.
Yeah. That's
hard to work for.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't take nothing for him, though.
Nope.
Jackson, how many years you been driving?
Let's see. Total in full size cars, I would say this will be my 5th year in full size cars. This will be my 2nd in late models, and then we did the mini cups for 2 years. So I guess I have 7 years experience. Yeah, about 7
Somewhere
years.
around there.
Yeah.
Well, you're obviously you're an up coming young driver, and obviously very successful. What advice would you have for aspiring drivers that's wanting to get started?
I'd say just if you're getting in it, just don't give up, because it's really, really difficult. It's tough. We've had a lot of bad seasons, especially like a couple years ago, and we wanted to quit about 4 or 5 times, but just don't do it. Just stay with it, stick with it. It'll get better. It'll get better.
Yeah, it did.
And it's a lot of fun. We have so much fun together, and I would trade it for anything. So just don't give up.
Have you won any track championships or anything like that?
I haven't. We don't really run for points. We just kind of
run for the fun of it.
Yeah, we just run for the fun of it. We points raced 1 year.
That was no fun.
It was crazy. I mean, we ran like 30 races that year.
It was like 30 races, and it about killed us.
Yeah.
Because it was just me and him.
Yeah, at the time it was just us two. Yeah, so we just go for fun.
Well, when it ceases to be fun, that's when you need to quit.
And it's too hard and difficult and to not be fun. Yeah, if you're not having fun and all the troubles that go with it, it can be pretty bad.
Oh man, you ain't kidding.
You gotta love it.
Okay, Jackson, let's get back to your great uncle Jerry McLerran for just a minute. He run the Buffalo Valley tracks and Hillham too. Did he ever run down here at Sparta or Melvin anywhere?
I know. Now, what I can remember, I know I have been to. Is it Glasgow? Didn't they used to have a track?
I think so.
I've been there. I was at Buffalo Valley, Hillham. Now, he may have run at Cookville. I don't remember. I was like 7, 8 years old when he was running, so I don't know exactly what all the tracks he did run at, but I know he ran them, and I know he was winning when I was going.
Yeah.
And it was crowded.
I don't believe I ever got to see him race, but I've certainly heard the name Jerry McLerran.
Yeah, he run the number 7. What I remember him most, he run a white 56 or 57 Chevy, and I remember we went to, I think it was Glasgow, and they had 2 cars there that was identical, and it just blew my mind because they were out there. They were 2 different divisions. I think they had somebody driving, or Jerry might have been driving both cars, but they had both of the cars there, and my little brain was just like, what in the world? There's 2 number 7, 2 Jerry cars out here, and I couldn't understand it. My dad was trying to explain it to me back then that it's 2 different cars for 2 different divisions.
Kind of confusing, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
That's funny.
But you all are doing a great job on your podcast, and I want to get back to that in just a minute. you all know, just like I do, it's a struggle trying to get one of these up and going. Tell me some of the struggles about what you all went through getting Bubba Bout Broke podcast up and going.
Well, the biggest struggle was my illiteracy on computers.
Yeah.
You know, I
Same here.
And I thought, man, this is going to be a huge endeavor for me to do this. But like I said, I just kept researching and reading and researching and reading. I actually called a few people that had a podcast up and going. It wasn't racing related, but they kind of steered me in the right direction. And then we had the artwork, and we had to put a Facebook page up. And, you know, I had a whole book of stuff that I needed to check off and do. Luckily, you start asking the right people and the right questions. You find people that can do these things. Ariela's brother, Jet, he is a computer genius.
Yeah,
and that's just a mild statement of what he is. He can do it. I told him what I wanted. I drew a picture of a rough sketch of Bubba. He went in and computerized everything so we could put it on send it to the podcast so we have an icon for people to push. So I started delegating authority of people that knew what they were doing and trusted that they could do it, and it all came together for us.
Yeah.
Stephen Fields does our IT work, and without him, I don't know where we'd be. Because if it was just me, we never would have got off the ground.
Yeah,
Exactly.
It takes everybody, that's for sure.
I had one guy that helped me get started, and I had to let him go because he wasn't getting material out
Yeah.
in a timely manner. And if you can't do that,
Well, that's
you're going to lose y'all.
That's
Exactly.
exactly right.
Yeah,
That's something that we've learned. And Ariela, is with her music career, she kind of coached me along on a lot of that stuff too. You need to be putting stuff out
During the week.
They got this TikTok thing and Instagram and Facebook, and you got to be selling your product or putting something out there, or people will just not look at it anymore.
You got to keep your product in front of the public, or they'll lose interest.
Constantly. That's why when we try to do these videos, we try to think outside of the box and do funny stuff, and like
The press conference.
That went crazy. That press conference blew. I mean, people just loved it.
I literally got on Facebook or Google and found the sounds of clicking cameras, like at a.
I thought them cameras was actually there.
No. They were being played.
It was on an iPhone on a Bluetooth
and then
speaker.
the crowd was the girls. Ari,
Lori and Mama were there.
Ari would change her voice. She'd go, Melvin. There was 4 or 5 different people there. So it really, 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 I think that's going to end up being one of our biggest hits.
I think it already is.
Of how many people that looked at it and commented on it.
I think it already is.
And that's going to be the challenge, is to keep up with that, something funny or something
and for
different.
like the dirt one, you put dirt on you.
Yeah.
We said something.
I went outside
Duck River.
and got some, because Russell Booth, who owns Duck River Raceway Park, and down there, the dirt track, he actually heard our podcast and contacted me about sponsoring us. And I thought, man, this is great, man. We got people calling us wanting to hand us a check. That's awesome. Well, I said, man, I got to sell this big time. So I went outside and got some dirt, put it all over me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you saw that one. But walked in there and started talking about Bubba's Bout Brokes, getting into the dirt business. We're getting sponsored by Duck River, and then I was like knocking dirt off of me. And man, people went
Said
crazy.
it's going to be a dirty good time.
I said, it's going to be a dirty good time. And it went nuts.
Yeah,
and Russell actually contacted me. He said, dude, that was awesome.
Yeah.
He said, that's thinking outside of the box.
He loves
so
it.
how am I going to keep up with this stuff? I don't know.
Have to keep coming up with stuff.
I know.
So your podcast, I've read some about it. It focuses mainly on the weekly preparations, getting ready.
Yeah,
for
it just focuses on like stuff that the casual race fan doesn't see.
behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes, yeah.
Right.
Because a casual fan will go to the racetrack and they'll be in the stands and they'll see the cars literally come out onto the grid, race, and then go back. And then the next time they see them, they're back on the racetrack. They don't see what goes on from Sunday to Friday night or
None of
Saturday
it.
morning, or even in the pits
Mm-hmm.
when you broke apart in practice and you're thrashing to get it together before 6 o'clock. So I mean, it's just the struggles, why you keep coming back, you know, the passion level, and just things that the fan doesn't see.
You know, even if you don't have any mechanical failures or anything at the race, they still maintenance you have to do.
Oh yeah,
Through the week.
yeah, for
all
sure.
week. I
Yeah.
bet I go over his race car 60 times a week. I start at the front. I do the engine section. I go underneath the transmission back to the rear end. And then I work my way back up, and I'm checking and touching every nut, every bolt, checking the fluid levels all week up until it's time to load the car in the trailer.
Yep.
So, and then I still miss stuff.
Yeah.
I don't even know how you do it, but you still miss stuff.
There's so much you have to keep up with. It's hard to check every little nut and bolt and
Yep.
and everything.
Oh yeah, it's especially on these late models.
Yeah.
Man, the adjustments on them things are freaking unreal. You know, it ain't like a pure stock race car or something where you can't do a whole lot but change the shocks or the springs and move some weight around. Man, it's you turn the wrong button or turn the wrong nut,
Or
you
dial
just
or
dialed
whatever.
yourself plumb out of the race for a month
Yeah.
to figure out how to get it
Have
back.
to go back down there and try and figure out what you did wrong, and how to fix it.
About how many races a season do you run?
Last year we ran probably
Probably 15.
15 or so, yeah, because we did some. We got into the pro late model stuff, but
We
this
started
year-
out in Cordell,
started
Georgia,
out in Georgia, yeah, and
running a CRA car at Speed Fest.
yeah, in the street stocks, and then,
Then we went to
went to
Anderson.
Anderson, yeah, and then we started
Indiana.
doing late model stuff. So this year we're probably going to run 15 or so again, I guess, unless something else comes along. But
Yeah.
that's our set schedule right now.
Any race team out there needs a driver. I mean, we'll jump in it.
Yeah, we'll try anything.
Driver for hire.
Yeah,
Heck yeah, man.
yeah, that's right.
But we talked about NASCAR earlier. NASCAR, it's not really worth watching anymore. I don't think. Just like the Busch Clash going to be run on a football field.
Yeah, I know it.
That's the most
That's why we were talking about that
ridiculous
today. I
thing.
probably wasn't even going to watch it.
It's more exciting to go to Highland Rim Speedway on a Saturday night, to me.
I'm going to take in more dirt races this year than it's been a while since I've been to one. But that's where, in my opinion, the grassroots racing is. It starts
Yeah.
on the dirt.
Well, see,
you
that's
got
my thing.
crossing.
Like, I've never been to a dirt track ever in my life,
Really.
but we're going to Duck River in a couple weeks for
Next
Winstead.
next weekend.
Yeah, I guess it is.
Is it next
I think it's
weekend?
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
18th. But we're going down there. They're going to have us down there. We're going to do a show at the racetrack,
Oh,
and we're going to stay down there the whole weekend and see all the races that I've never seen before. So, yeah, I'm excited about that.
I'm not a very good dad, Emma. I never took him to a dirt race.
Well, I grew up.
I just hope the right people didn't hear that.
We're fixing it though. We're
We're
fixing it.
fixing it. See, my dad started taking me after Jerry quit driving. He started taking me to Nashville, and my first big race, I guess, was the Nashville 420, and that's how I got on the pavement. And then I brought him into it.
Well, it sounds like you're a good dad.
I hope so.
But like that's what we're wanting to cater more, I guess, toward the lower divisions and who we interview. Like we're not really set on interviewing the big time like super late model drivers that tour the country and have these, because I mean now these teams are almost like NASCAR teams.
Yeah.
These big super late model teams have like stacker trailers and they have full-time employees and they have 15 cars in their shop, and it's crazy. So we're kind of looking more toward pure stock guys and street stocks and
People that don't never get
type
interviewed.
stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah.
We want to interview them.
Right.
The guy that comes in 30th every week.
Yeah.
He never gets interviewed, never going to get intervied. But
And
we're
puts
gonna
in
do
as much work as anybody.
Exactly.
If not more.
We want to hear
Yeah.
their stories. That's
Yeah,
what
we
Bubba
do
is,
too.
man.
We do too. Some of the best stories that can be told is from the street guys and hobby guys.
Exactly.
I think, but it's times are changing in the racing world, and
Big
it just
time.
It is, yeah.
Generational thing is what it is.
it is. It's like I told somebody here a while back. When me and my dad was going to dirt races around here in the 70s, late 60s, 70s, and early 80s, I know a lot about that. But when they made the leap from the sedans, the 56 Chevrolet, stuff like that, to the super late models, I've got a void right there that I'm trying to feel,
Yeah.
because it's so much so different. BK had a super late model, and I was up at his tire shop, and I got in it, and I never in the world like got out of it.
Yeah.
I thought I was going turned upside down, and shake me
Well,
out of it.
They're
his
tight.
car.
Like that's the difference I realized because like I've been running street stocks and stuff, and those cars are bigger and you're stretched out really at the your legs to the pedals and stuff. And when I got those Pro late models and stuff, like everything is so close. You sit like your knees are like up like this, and the wheels right here, and the gauges and everything are right here. The shifter's right here. I mean, you don't have to reach for anything. And the window net is like, the window's like that big. You gotta slide out of it.
Everything's right there.
Yeah, it's like
It's
literally
almost too close.
the shifter's here and the gauges are here, and the ignition switch is like right here.
I can't.
You don't
get
have to
my belly-
reach for anything.
I can't get my belly through the window.
Like I
I'm sure I could.
It's like I can almost reach up and touch the windshield. It's so tight in there.
Oh man, it's a different world. Times have changed. I guess I'm stuck in a time warp.
That's not a bad idea, though. Sometimes it's a good place to be.
Some things it is, some things it ain't.
But
like when you try to start a
And
podcast.
another part of the podcast we're trying to do is also we're of course we're interviewing those drivers and stuff, but we're trying to get people back in the stands at our local racetrack.
Fans in the stands.
We're
that's our
partnered
motto.
with Highland Rim Speedway. That's our home track. That's like 30 minutes from our house, and we're helping. We're getting with them and we're working with them to try and get people back in the stands. We're giving out free family passes to go over there, and because I have a picture from a newspaper article when my great uncle Jerry raced, and he won in front of how many people was it?
It said there was 2,400 people,
I've never raced in front
and
of
that was
people.
at Buffalo Valley.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? Y'all probably remember that. But come on,
Never.
that many people at a dirt track in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine what it would be like to race in front of that many people every weekend.
There's Golden Mountain Park, Raceway Park, just a few miles from here, and I've done a video on it. Me and Stephen went out there. I think it was about 8 minutes long, and it's had more views than anything, 2,500. And
Really?
I'm hoping that will open up again one day. And Ricky Waters, when you decide to open it, give me a call. I won't talk to you.
Yeah, us too.
Where is it?
About
How
Broke will
close
be
is
up
it to
there.
here?
Oh, it ain't but about 5-6 miles from here. Golden Mountain.
Can you still see it pretty good?
Jackson wants
I want to go over there.
on track.
If it's close, I want to go over there.
Well, it's the gate's locked. You can kind of see the outline of the track. Ricky's done a lot of work on it. When I was over there, he had hauled like 100 loads of red clay trying to get the track redone.
Dang.
And that was right before COVID hit.
Mhm.
And then all the heavy rains and stuff, it washed all that dirt into the infield.
Wow.
But he's took a dozer and grader and got the dirt back up on the track.
It sounds like they're wanting to.
Sounds like they need to call some people like us and see if we can help out.
Yeah.
We'd be over here if they opened that up for sure. That'd be awesome.
But I just want to thank you all for coming up, and I'm glad that you could make it. I invited y'all up. You give us a shout out on your podcast
Every week.
Yep,
And-
absolutely.
and I hope that I can return the favor. And glad y'all could make it. And for this is Steve Winstead. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Southern Dirt Motorsports. Got any ideas, good or bad, or critical or whatever? Shoot me an email at southerndirtmotorsports@gmail.com, or if you feel so inclined to write me a letter, address it to 951 P.O. Box 951, Livingston, Tennessee. I'm sorry. Thank you, and we'll catch you later.